Welcome back to another episode of Setup Wars. I got a banger for you guys today, so sit back and relax and let the Setup Wars begin. Let me show you guys the difference between regular shoes and waterproof shoes. So the shoe on my right is from Vessi, who's also sponsoring today's video. Not only does it keep my feet dry in wet circumstances, but it's extremely comfortable to wear. And that's because all Vessi shoes are made out of Dymatex. It's a dual climate knit material that keeps you cool in the summer and warm in cold weather. These shoes are now a part of my daily life. They're stylish, so they fit with pretty much any outfit I own, and they are so comfortable that I wear them practically everywhere I go, whether it's running errands, taking my daughter out, or just chilling in my backyard. And I know you guys will love these shoes as well. In fact, Vessi is giving all my subscribers a $25 discount on each pair of adult Vessi shoes. If you guys want to grab one, visit vessi.com/TechSource and use the code TechSource. We are kicking off the episode strong with this insane triple monitor battle station. So Henry is a content creator from California who does video editing for a few popular YouTubers. He's also into photography and he's a drone pilot as well. He definitely knows how to stay busy, but even the busiest of people need to take a break sometimes. So that's why he built a place where he can work and game on his spare time. It took Henry a total of 3 years to get the setup to this point, and I absolutely love the theme of this setup. We got ourselves an IKEA Barkaboto countertop with a few Alex units for support and some small risers underneath to add some spacing. That way he's able to clamp his boom arm to the table. I gotta say, I do love the wood countertop mixed in with all the warm tones of the setup, and did a really good job staying consistent with it. The main display is a 34-inch ultralight up top, and then we got two more 27-inch 144Hz monitors on the bottom, much closer to his desk. However, he does have all the monitors mounted, so he's able to keep both of the bottom displays floating slightly above the desk to pass cables underneath from his GMMK Pro keyboard and the Elgato Stream Deck. I also like how the custom coiled cable and the wrist rest match the rest of the theme. But a leather desk mat? I don't get why people use a leather desk mat. I mean, sure, it looks nice and probably even adds a more mature look to your setup, but surely your mouse doesn't glide over it as well as it does on a fabric pad, right? Seeing as you don't have any other mice listed and you like to play games like Halo Infinite and Apex Legends, I would recommend picking up an actual gaming mouse for that. Trust me, it will make a huge difference. I've gamed on an MX Master mouse before, and let me tell you, it is not pleasant. Shifting over to his audio gear is where things get interesting. He does have a pair of DT 1990s that he keeps underneath the desk, but he also mounted two of his speakers on the wall with some greenery for decoration. Taking advantage of the curtains on the sides, he cleverly routed the cables behind them and into the giant raceway in the back of the desk. The speakers and the headphones are plugged into the beautiful JDS Labs amp and DAC, while the AT2035 microphone is plugged into the Go XLR. Cables are managed beautifully behind and underneath the desk with tasteful decoration. Powering the entire setup is a custom O11 build rocking an RTX 2080 Ti Founders Edition with an i9-9960X processor. This isn't to be confused with the 9th gen Coffee Lake. This is actually from Skylake, as you can tell by his 128GB memory kit. By the way, did anyone else notice Henry's camera for streaming? My guy is rocking a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K camera. A $2,000 cinematic camera just so he can look extra sharp on his streams. I love it. He's definitely not one to settle. I mean, just look at this console and home theater setup. This place is decked out to the max. He's got a 77-inch LG OLED TV that's sandwiched by two massive Klipsch tower speakers. We got a center channel underneath and two height speakers. We also have a sub next to his setup and then two more rear speakers in the back behind the couch. All this to play on his PS4 Slim. I'm just kidding. He does use it to watch movies mostly, but the TV is connected to the PC as well, so he can play on a larger screen. Can you imagine playing Diablo 3 on this massive screen with surround sound? Man, what a vibe that must be. Such a beautiful battle station and home theater setup. Thank you, Henry, for starting off the show. Speaking of vibes, take a look at this next setup. Damn. This sweet oasis belongs to Khalid from Bahrain, who is currently a student in college. He started the setup back in December 2019 because he wanted a place where he can focus on schoolwork, but also game when he needs to release some stress and have fun. He has both an entertainment setup and a PC gaming setup. The main setup has a single 27-inch monitor that he mounted to the IKEA Malm desk, and below that he's rocking a Corsair K70 MK2 and a Model O wireless. I get that you're trying to hide the keyboard cable underneath the mouse pad, but you're making it worse by doing this. Have you heard of the phrase, if you can't hide it, decorate it? Same concept applies here. I would just use a clear cable clip and keep the path of the cable straight across the top of the mouse pad. It will look so much cleaner than what you have going on now. Khaled doesn't have any headphones for the setup, so he relies on the speakers as the only audio source, although he does have an Echo Dot speaker on the left shelf if he wants to listen to music wirelessly. One of the things I love about this room is the theme. Khaled did such a fantastic job decorating this entire room and sticking to the same color scheme on both setups. You can tell he put in some thought in selecting the gear. Even the custom wall that he decorated for the entertainment area is badass. He stuck on a pretty cool wallpaper with silver lines and added a frame around it in the same width as the TV stand. This gives it a nice unique look that separates it from the PC gaming side, and it also matches the trim of the house. The cable management is also done very well. He sleeved all the cables behind the monitor and ran them behind the mount into the raceway underneath the desk. But look at how he managed the cable from the Nanoleaf panels, you guys. He made two small cutouts on each of the 3D panels to pass through that single cable down the wall. So freaking impressive. You gotta look really closely to appreciate all the attention to detail that went into this setup. Except he still kept the caution sticker on the side of the PC. Why? Everything was almost perfect, and then you have this. I'm just kidding, it's not a big deal. We do have a Ryzen 5 5600X paired with an RTX 2060 Super inside the H510 Elite. I also just noticed that it's chair folds, so we can tuck it away underneath the desk to save some space. That's actually pretty cool. Such a badass and perfectly executed gaming room. Thank you, Khaled, for sharing this with us. Ladies and gentlemen, up next is our setup spotlight of the episode. This belongs to Enrique, who's an automotive design engineering student from Mexico. All right, so obviously the guy needs a bigger desk, right? He's working with some pretty big components and doesn't have the space to store them. I mean, just look at the size of the speakers. They're almost as big as the PC. Personally, I would get rid of the side table and get a much longer desk. That alone would solve your problem. Another solution would be to lift the PC up and put it on a wall shelf to free up some space under it, and you can even stack the second monitor. That way it's not floating off to the side of the desk. With this type of setup and how giant your speakers are, a stacked monitor setup makes the most sense, unless you lay the speakers flat on the sides. I don't recommend doing that, but if that's the route you choose, I would at least pick up some isolation pads. At least this way, you can get your second monitor much closer to the main. But yeah, other than that, the setup itself isn't bad. We definitely kept it nice and organized with great cable management and a decent PC. We got a 9700K with a GTX 1660 Super, but he did say that he's planning on upgrading to a 12900K and an RTX 3080. Definitely feel free to submit again once you do upgrade your setup. Thank you, Enrique, for sharing this with us. Up next is a very interesting closet gaming setup by the one and only Michael, who is the admin of my Discord server. I'm just kidding, this is a different Michael. He's much more big brain. He is currently a journeyman mechanic from Georgia who wanted a gaming and streaming setup, but didn't have the space for one, so he made one in his closet. Who the hell needs a closet to hang useless clothes when you can use that space for something more useful? He crammed in a modded IKEA Beckham desk, but shaved off the sides to make it fit while still being able to close the doors. He was also able to fit in 3 monitors in here. We got 2 27-inch curved monitors that he mounted against the desk, although I don't like how he had to cut into the mouse pad to make it work. I feel like he could have gone with 2 separate monitor mounts and avoided this. The third monitor is mounted against the wall above the shelf. I really hope that's only used as an overhead to glance at for quick information because it's too high up there to be used comfortably. Moving on to peripherals, he's using a white GMMK TKL with a Model O wireless, and then for audio, the setup uses a pair of Klipsch speakers, but when he's streaming, he puts on the Arctis 5s. Can we just appreciate how well he was able to fit everything in so well in such a tiny space? He's got a full-length boom arm holding his Shure MV7 microphone. There's a dedicated camera up top, actually 2 cameras for streaming. One is a top-down webcam for the keyboard and mouse. And then of course we got both of the PCs up top. The gaming PC is a custom build featuring the Ryzen 7 5700G with an RTX 3060, while the second streaming PC is a Dell Optiplex 5060 with an i7 8700 and a GTX 1050 Ti. The only issue I found with your gaming PC is the bottom 2 fans are set incorrectly. You have them set as exhaust instead of intake, so when you get the chance, flip them the other way around. That way it's pulling in air from the bottom and into your case. I feel like Michael didn't have to settle for anything. If there was something he wanted, he made it fit. And that's what's so impressive about this setup. Even the cable management is on point. He didn't take any shortcuts here just because it's inside of a closet. All the cables are beautifully managed underneath the desk, but he also cut into the back of it to make room for the raceways and even took it a step further to sleeve the cables from his audio gear. I love the commitment here. Now the rest of the room is like a gamer's paradise. Actually, it's more like an arcade. There's a pinball machine in the corner right next to an entertainment setup which is powered by his third PC. Another Optiplex system with an i7 3770 and a PowerColor RX 570. On the right side of that are 4 more arcade machines. I mean, you'll never get bored in this room. I could just imagine inviting a group of friends over on the weekend, maybe a few beers while watching something on the TV or hanging out playing on arcade machines. Whatever is happening in this room, it's a vibe and I'm all for it. Thank you, Michael, for sharing this with us. Speaking of a vibe, take a look at this awesome white theme setup by Michel. He's a field social worker for the youth that built the setup in 1.5 years for gaming, watching movies, and anime. The setup is built on just an IKEA Lag Captain countertop with surprisingly no bowing in the center thanks to the middle support leg. Looks like he did mount both his monitors on a single vertical mount to achieve the stacked look, but I don't think he's really taken advantage of the monitor layout. You got the extra space for some nice speakers. I would definitely upgrade the Bluetooth speaker you have underneath the desk, which probably isn't doing much for your setup, and get some nice bookshelf speakers instead. For peripherals, he's rocking a Ducky One 2 Mini and a Razer Viper Ultimate with a very nice mouse pad, all matching really nicely with the white on black theme he was going for. Despite not having any drawers underneath, he did a pretty good job hiding all the wires the best you could. The only thing I would have done differently is I would have used actual cable racks instead of zip tying all the wires together. That's gonna be really painful to remove when you decide to upgrade something in your setup. If you must tie cables together, use Velcro straps instead of zip ties. Powering the entire setup is a gorgeous all-white build inside the O11 Dynamic Evo. It's packing a Ryzen 5 5600X with an ROG Strix 3080 in white. Now I do love what you did with the 3D art panels against the wall, but I would have committed to covering the entire wall because that empty space kind of sticks out. Or you could have centered the panels and used the Govee glide bars on the outside to outline them. Either way, I think they look really great in your setup and they fit in beautifully with the color scheme. Thank you, Michel, for sharing this with us. As always, let me know in the comment section which of these setups was your absolute favorite. If you guys are enjoying the new schedule of Setup Wars as well as the quality of the setups showcased, do let me know by tossing either a like or let me know in the comment section as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.